All they want is fair competition as they blast away in the final of the island, the inaugural final of the Islands Challenge Cup for student women's eights, and huge force and energy and explosion of power from both these crews.
Yeah, and these two crews have been battling it out all season, so to come to Henley Regatta, you know, which one of these crews today is going to etch their name on that trophy for the first time, you know, that is pretty unique.
It is pretty unique, and we only know really from quite variable conditions that they were pretty matched to the first marker, the barrier, pretty matched to the second marker, the Fawley, and then what happened in the second half determined a bit by the pressure they're under. So we don't know how the second half is going to play out, but so far, well, it was promising to be a close race, and so far it's stroke for stroke, seat for seat, as these two student women's eights show us what they can do for the first time really under full pressure to get down this Henley track against each other.
I love it. Bow ball to bow ball. Look at that shot. Both crews side by side, nothing between them. As you mentioned, Matt, they were so close in time to the barrier and Fawley once again. There was a second between them yesterday, and they had the same time to Fawley, so there is not much between them at all. But that second part you never can tell because you never know what was going on. But that UL crew is just inching out now, taking the early advantage.
Yeah, so this is a key point, isn't it? So if you're sitting in the Brookes crew, you know those things, you know the times, you've done the analysis that Mark and I have both done on the numbers from yesterday, and you know that you're pretty much the same speed, and suddenly it's not going quite according to plan because the University of London A crew on the far station, well, they are moving through, they are taking distance every stroke at present.
Yeah, and both these universities have had success already today, so they're already be feeding off that because they've both won events, and they know that the program's working well with the men's boats of each one, so you know which one of these women's crews are going to step up today.
Both have got very deep squads and a lot of talent in those squads, as we saw A and B crews racing each other. Well, University of London raced their B crew yesterday, and I thought it really was a mark of the respect they have in that squad as they crossed the line. The A crew immediately applauded and cheered. The B crew, who returned that, made me quite emotional to see that spirit of togetherness that we've all needed in the last year or so, but absolutely at the heart of the way University of London women support each other in their squad.
Well, that kind of squad emphasis is so important, is that you feed off each other, you support each other, you train with each other, and you know you want to be in the boat with the best people constantly, but you want to look after your colleagues and make sure they get the best of themselves as well. So that was a phenomenal race yesterday with A and B going all the way. You know, A did not let up at all yesterday, and their B crew had an incredible race. That was a great thing that we got to see on semi-finals day yesterday.
Yeah, and we love to see the rivalry within clubs that pushes each other along, and that's what the University of London team did so well. But here they are, they've got an advantage over Oxford Brookes. It's not going according to plan, the Oxford Brookes women's crew here, the A crew in this event. They would have wanted to be alongside, but so far it's University of London who are leading. Brookes are still there, they're still hanging in there, and they now need to kind of reboot their race plan, Mark, don't they? They need to adapt and think about how they're going to get back on terms. Is it going to be now? Do they think they can do better in the second half? Do you think they've got the superior fitness? How would you decide how to do that in an eight?
Well, I think that's the Cox's job, and this is where they really earn their money. You know, they need to read the race. What do we need to do? But you've got to bring everybody together. It can't be one person thinking we need to do something, you know, overworking, everybody else not responding. It's just wasted energy. It has to be something that is done collectively together, and that has to be driven from the voice of the Cox.
Well, we just passed that white box there is the Fawley mark, which is 1,047 metres down the course. 9 metres after that is the halfway mark, and they've both just gone through. That looks to me like Brookes now have gained some distance back. It's quite hard from this angle to be sure, so we'll have to check as we come alongside them. But it's proving a great race in the middle of the course. It's everything to play for Brookes and University of London. And, well, I think the University of London women are seeing Brookes coming back at them. That's a hard one to respond to.
And this is really, it's those mind games again. You know, this dual race, one-on-one, head-to-head. That's what makes it so unique. You know, you haven't got other boats to feed off. And, you know, when you're in front, you see the crew come back. Have you gone off too hard? Those questions are becoming now. Can you respond?
Well, Brookes are coming through. Brookes are coming through the University of London A crew after perhaps a slower start than they might have expected. They really have moved quite significantly in the second quarter of the race. As we look down from above, Oxford Brookes have broken through the University of London crew and are now leading by perhaps a canvas, perhaps a little bit more than that. University of London need to consolidate now and need to be ready to respond to that challenge. They don't want to see Brookes moving any more seats through them now, Mark.
And this is when it swings to the other side now. We had Brookes under pressure. They had to make an impact. They've done that. Now it swings to UL. Can they respond in the same manner and come back? Because if Brookes keeps slipping through, that confidence just gets whittled away in that UL boat. And this is when, once again, the Cox has to really galvanise the crew, make a change, have an impact. It'll be over 2 or 3 strokes.
Yeah, and I think, as we say that, I think that's exactly what University of London are doing. I'm not sure if they're tuned into Mark Hunter commentating here with me, but they are now holding Brookes, and it looks like they are returning the favour with a strong push of their own. Now, Brookes may well have been significantly lifted by seeing the performance of the stewards 4 moments ago, who kind of rode through. The University of London, they may have seen that performance as well, and that is the story that they now want to write for themselves. Looks to me like Brookes have held that push, maybe even gained another seat on the University of London. So now it's kitchen sink time for the women of the University of London.
Yeah, and it's how much have you got left now? How much do you want this? You want to have your name, you want to be the first ones to put your name on this new trophy.
Oxford Brookes, University of London. It's the final. It's the inaugural Ireland Challenge Cup for women's eights. The crowds here are on their feet trying to cheer on these women, celebrating their talent, but calling for their colours. Is it the stripes of Brookes? Is it the purple of the University of London? They're starting into the final phase of the race. Nothing needs to be left in those legs. Nothing needs to be left in those tanks as they hit the finish line. University of London, it's now or never.
And they're moving back now. They're starting to come back on Brookes. This cat and mouse game is still continuing.
Yeah, it's windy. Papers are blowing around here in the commentary box as they face a headwind coming into the final few strokes of this race. That might give an advantage. You've got a bit of power left in those legs, but Brookes, closest to us, seem to be in a dominant position now, looking to push on, hold off the attack from the women of the University of London. 10 strokes to go. This race, this event is going to be won by Oxford Brookes for the first time, the Ireland Challenge Cup. But University of London continue to attack.
They're continuing to attack there. They're not giving up on this as they close into the line.
Well, Oxford Brookes come from behind and take on the University of London successfully to win the Ireland Challenge Cup. Those names for each athlete will go onto the cup, and the name Oxford Brookes will be the first to be inscribed on that beautiful new silverware.